Callie Sadecki, the teenage daughter of Shauna Sadecki in Yellowjackets, is a fascinating study in adolescent psychology, shaped by the weight of her mother's traumatic past and her struggle for identity. Her behavior, her complex relationship with Lottie Matthews, and the shocking moment when she kills Lottie in Season 3, Episode 10, Full Circle, offer a window into the psychological forces driving her actions. Drawing on developmental psychology, trauma theory, and interpersonal dynamics, this analysis explores Callie's psyche, her connection with Lottie, and the motivations behind the fatal act, providing a compelling narrative for a video exploration of her character. At her core, Callie's behavior reflects the turbulent process of identity formation, a hallmark of adolescence as outlined by Erik Erikson's psychosocial development theory. Teenagers like Callie grapple with defining who they are amidst familial and societal pressures, often experimenting with rebellion to assert autonomy. Callie's defiance, seen in her drug use, shoplifting, and manipulation of situations like drugging Misty Quigley, signals a desperate need to carve out her own identity in a household clouded by secrecy. Shauna's guarded nature, rooted in her survivalist experiences after the 1996 plane crash, creates an emotional distance that leaves Callie feeling unloved and disconnected. This aligns with attachment theory, which suggests that an insecure attachment to a parent can manifest in externalizing behaviors like aggression or deceit. Callie's impulsive acts, such as dumping animal intestines on classmates or shooting Lottie in Season 2's finale, reveal a teenager struggling to control her environment while seeking validation that her mother rarely provides. The concept of intergenerational trauma is central to understanding Callie's psyche. Shauna's unresolved trauma from the wilderness, marked by violence, cannibalism, and loss, seeps into Callie's life, shaping her worldview. Callie's discovery of her mother's affair and involvement in a murder cover-up intensifies her mistrust, pushing her to seek answers elsewhere. Her calculating side, evident when she lies to isolate Shauna from Jeff or manipulates Misty, suggests a learned survival mechanism, mirroring Shauna's secretive tendencies. This behavior aligns with Albert Bandura's social learning theory, where Callie models her mother's morally ambiguous actions, normalizing deception and violence as tools for control. Yet, her actions also hint at moral disengagement, allowing her to rationalize harmful behaviors to align with her emerging sense of self. Callie's relationship with Lottie Matthews is a pivotal dynamic that amplifies her psychological struggles. Lottie, a survivor of the crash and a figure tied to the mysterious wilderness, enters Callie's life in Season 3, fresh from a psychiatric ward and in a state of childlike euphoria. Their connection begins with shared rebellion, shoplifting and playing truth or dare, appealing to Callie's need for connection outside her strained family ties. From a psychological perspective, this dynamic resembles transference, where Callie projects her longing for maternal validation onto Lottie, who offers openness in contrast to Shauna's secrecy. Lottie, however, projects her own beliefs onto Callie, seeing her as a child of the wilderness with a power surpassing Shauna's. This projection, rooted in Lottie's history of visions and possible schizophrenia, positions Callie as a vessel for the wilderness's legacy, intensifying their bond but also its volatility. The turning point in their relationship comes when Lottie gifts Callie Jackie's heart-shaped necklace, a symbol tied to the Yellowjackets' ritualistic sacrifices. For Lottie, the necklace represents Callie's connection to the wilderness, but for Callie, it's a tangible link to her mother's dark past, sparking both curiosity and fear. Shauna's enraged reaction upon seeing Callie wear it underscores the necklace's ominous weight, highlighting the tension between Callie's desire to understand her mother and her fear of inheriting her darkness. Lottie's insistence that Callie embodies the wilderness's power creates a power struggle, with Callie resisting being defined by Lottie's mystical worldview. This dynamic, as Sarah Desjardins notes, fills Callie with intrigue, fear, and confusion as she grapples with Lottie's unsettling influence and her own identity. The fatal moment when Callie pushes Lottie down the stairs, resulting in her death, is a complex act driven by psychological and emotional forces. The confrontation occurs as Callie seeks a stolen DAT tape, but Lottie's provocative statements shift the encounter into dangerous territory. Lottie claims Callie is just like Shauna, only more, suggesting Shauna is jealous of Callie's power and incapable of loving her due to the wilderness's influence. These words strike at Callie's deepest insecurities, triggering a fight-or-flight response. Psychologically, Callie's act reflects emotional dysregulation, common in adolescents with underdeveloped impulse control. Her push is not premeditated murder but a defensive reaction to Lottie's physical closeness and existential challenge, aligning with reactive aggression under stress. From a trauma perspective, Lottie's death is a manifestation of intergenerational trauma. Lottie's assertion that Callie is a child of the wilderness taps into Callie's fear of being consumed by her mother's violent legacy, amplified by the necklace's symbolic weight. The act of pushing Lottie can be seen as a symbolic rejection of the wilderness narrative, an attempt to assert agency against a force threatening her identity. Yet, paradoxically, it mirrors Shauna's impulsive violence, suggesting Callie has internalized her mother's survivalist instincts. Lottie's question: if you could describe yourself without fear or shame, who are you? Leaves Callie unmoored, as Desjardins notes, because she lacks an answer. This existential crisis, coupled with Lottie's physical advance, overwhelms Callie, culminating in the tragic push. The ambiguity of the wilderness, whether a supernatural force or a psychological construct, adds depth to Callie's actions. Lottie's belief in the wilderness may reflect a collective delusion born of trauma, with her mental health struggles shaping her perception of Callie as a chosen figure. For Callie, the wilderness represents the inherited weight of her mother's past, a legacy she both fears and embodies. Some theories suggest the wilderness chose Callie to replace Lottie, but a psychological lens points to environmental influences, Shauna's modeling and Lottie's manipulation, as the primary drivers of her behavior. Callie's killing of Lottie marks a turning point, aligning her with her mother's darkness while setting the stage for further conflict. Her isolation from Shauna, as Jeff takes her away, suggests a deepening identity crisis that could shape her future arc. Whether she embraces or rejects this darkness remains an open question, but her actions underscore the profound impact of trauma, attachment, and identity struggles on her psyche. For a video adaptation, Callie's story offers a gripping narrative of a teenager caught between rebellion and legacy, with Lottie's death as a haunting climax that reflects the enduring scars of the wilderness.